Hey guys, so right before the episode starts, I wanted to pop in and share my love for Anchor with you guys. Without Anchor, Skincare Anarchy would not be a thing. So I want to just mention that if you're someone who wants to get into the podcast world and you want to get started, you can do it for free. You can go to your app store and just download the app for Anchor, or you can go to anchor.fm and get started. Now, Anchor does provide so many tools, so many benefits for new podcasters, and it's so easy to use. So I really urge you to check it out and stay tuned for our episode. Hi guys, welcome back to Skincare Anarchy. This is Etka, and wow, do I have a guest for you today. I am super excited. This is probably my most anticipated interview to date. So I'm not going to blab too much, but I want to introduce you guys to Sarah Creal, who is the CEO and co-founder for Victoria Beckham Beauty. So welcome to the show, Sarah. I'm so excited you're here.
Thank you so much, Ekta. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's such an honor to host you. I mean, I'm such a huge fan of the line, and obviously your work is is astounding because the products are phenomenal. So I want to dive into that. But first, can you get us started by just, talking about your background and what led to this amazing collab between you and Victoria, and just the whole journey?
Sure. Okay. So I have always loved beauty. I was obsessed from the time I was a teenager. I grew up in this very small town, and I would spend Saturdays when my dad was at his business. He was an architect, and he would be doing his drawings at his office. And I would go next door into the local drugstore, and I would just spend hours looking at all the beauty products. And
Wow.
I had kind of this epiphany when I was about 13. I was looking at all of the mascaras on the wall. And I mean, I had a lot of time on my hands. And so
Yeah.
I read the ingredient listings across various brands, and I saw they were identical. And it occurred to me the difference was in the brush. And then I thought, somebody has that job where they choose the brush. And I'm like, I want to choose the brush. I want to be that person.
Yeah.
So, that was when I was about 13. Fast forward, I, went through high school. I went to college. Excuse me.
Yeah.
I went to college and I majored in British literature because, again, my father had a big role in that. And he said to me, you'll never have the chance to have professors analyze a piece of literature with you.
Yeah.
Whereas
Wow. Yeah.
In, marketing, you can learn that on your own. You can, get into the workforce and you can learn that on the job. And so I took his advice. And so I majored in British literature, graduated, and then tried to get a job in beauty. And it was really hard.
Yeah.
It was really wrong. But I finally got my first job after, and this was back in the day where you had to write a letter. Okay.
Yeah.
For your listeners, writing a letter versus sending an email. So it was very manual, the whole process. And I applied to every company that I knew of, to their corporate offices. And I requested a position in entry-level marketing. And I finally got a response from Clinique. And they asked me to come to New York for an interview. And I did, but the position was not in marketing. It was at Bergdorf Goodman at the counter. And that was my first position. I took that job happily. And that's where I started. So I started in sales. And I would recommend this to anybody who's interested in any kind of discipline. When you are on the front line with the consumer, you understand things at a different level than you ever can when you're kind of in, a little bit of a bubble, of a corporate bubble. And so that's how I started. I started in sales, and then I did that for a few years in a couple of different companies. And then I applied to a blind ad in the New York Times, again, just to, this was so many years ago, but that's how it was done. It was a newspaper, and I applied to this blind ad that was seeking a product developer with 1 to 3 years experience. And I had 0. I only had sales experience, but I wrote what I jokingly call like a completely inappropriate cover letter, talking about alpha and beta hydroxy acids and how they affect the skin and that they were going to be moving from skincare into makeup because of the baby boomer demographic and all, the interest
Wow. Yeah.
in makeup that could actually improve the skin's condition. Anyway, I got the interview and I ultimately got the job, which was at Revlon for Ultima 2. And so that
Wow.
was my first product development position.
I love how that was a cover letter. Like you just went in, you were like, science, here you go. That's crazy cool. I love that. I mean, I think it's so interesting to hear like founder stories for me because you're right. Like, it has to come from a place of just not only experience and education, but also just the nitty gritty, like knowing what the consumer wants, like where is there a white space, and,
Right.
and what is that? So I completely love, how everything began for you. Now, what about so eventually, obviously the line now, like Victoria Beckham Beauty is huge in the skincare line. I know that it's taken off so wonderfully, and I want to know all the details behind that, like all the planning you did, and just how you visioned this.
So Victoria and I met about now 5 or 6 years ago when I was at Estee Lauder, and we did a collaboration. And so we created 2 different collections together, and they did incredibly well. And we just hit it off. We related to each other, I think, as, working moms.
Yeah.
But we also had the same vision for beauty, like what's really, beautiful, and the same passion for active products, active skincare, makeup that really works, that performs. And so we decided that we were going to go on this journey ourselves.
Yeah.
So we decided to start Victoria Beckham Beauty, and we have great investors as our partners. But it is really a startup. And but we just had a vision.
Right. I think I
Brand.
lost. Yeah. Yeah. No, I think I lost you in the middle.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
It's saying my internet connection is unstable. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. But yeah, you
So
had a vision, and then
we
you.
had, yeah, we had a vision together about what this brand would be. And when we started talking about it, we were like, what would a luxury brand in the beauty space look like in 10 years? Like the absolute best luxury beauty brand look like
Yeah.
in 10 years. And we determined it would be inclusive. It would be for all
Yes.
skin tones, ages, genders, etc. High performance. Of course, it was going to be luxury. This was
Yeah.
both of our backgrounds. It would be clean and cruelty free,
Yeah.
but it would also be transparent to the consumer and educational. And I can talk about that a little bit more in depth in a second if you want.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But we also wanted it to be sustainably minded. So using minimal plastic and post-consumer materials in the packaging.
Yeah.
And then also it would obviously be through Victoria's lens.
Right.
So an edited collection, nothing overwhelming, but really pretty concise and very honest, things that she thought were really missing.
Right. Right. No, and that's exactly how I see it, as a consumer. Like I remember even, watching right before the launch, like I would watch all the promo videos and stuff, and I was obsessed, even before I got my hands on the products, because that's exactly what I saw. I mean, what you just described, is exactly what I saw as a consumer. Was this is perfect, like the makeup and the way that it was designed is like I can put this into my bag and it's chic and it's beautiful and it's exactly what I need. It's no excess, you know what I mean? There's nothing
Yes.
excessive about it. It's a very every part of the product is usable and utilized in the best way by the consumer. So I absolutely see that in your work.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Great. I'm so happy about that.
Yeah, no, I want to talk a little bit about the skincare products, because I know that that's such a forward step to take, especially like when a beauty brand comes out and it's doing so well. And then what really led you to take that step into skincare?
Well, skincare is really important to
Yeah.
both Victoria and me. That old adage sort of that makeup is only as good as the skin that it's on, and so we really wanted to address creating the most amazing skin that would allow you, if you wanted, to be foundation free, that really supported the skin's health.
Yeah.
And so at this point, before we launched the brand, Victoria was using some of the Augustinus Bader product.
Yeah.
And she just, she said to me, this product is amazing. We should really have a conversation with Professor Bader. And so the fabulous thing about working with Victoria Beckham is when she makes a phone call, usually somebody on the other end picks up. so,
Yeah.
so she did. She reached out to Professor Bader, and we all started having a conversation about creating, this collaboration. And we first launched our Cell Rejuvenating Priming Moisturizer, and that was in November of 2019. And then the following February, we launched the Cell Rejuvenating Power Serum.
Wow.
And again, in this edited, highly active, high performance kind of lens, we really wanted a skincare routine that was going to be super simple, this whole idea of skinimalism, as we call it, but really effective. And I think that's what we've done. And our customers are telling us that that's what they're getting. So, it's incredibly satisfying. But, it's important for us that we test our skincare formulations, both clinically and with consumer perception.
Yeah.
So the difference is, in a clinical trial, you have a number of subjects and you have an expert that's evaluating the skin and that's looking under microscopes and, looking at pore size, measuring actual pore size reduction, and pore size appearance, things like that, skin radiance, versus a consumer who then says, oh, I feel like my skin is looking smoother and more calm.
Yeah. Like you actually hear about the results from them. Yeah.
Right. And for me as a developer, it's important that you test both of those things, because it's one thing if consumers are, feeling it, and that's great, but it's also important to have the hard, raw data that's showing those improvements.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. I love that you said that, because, that's one thing, for me, as a science geek, I truly, truly believe in the idea that, you can do in vitro studies all day and you can, have this amazing, set of data in the lab, but then, how does that translate to the real world? And then especially in beauty and skincare, this is a huge topic that people talk about, because they're like, oh, well, this product really works for me, but, and it might not have 50 million articles that are published about the, what I mean, the actives and stuff, but it really works. And I know I've gotten on the phone with some dermatologists, and I've some colleagues of mine, I've been trying to convince them, if it's a good skincare line, you need to give it space to to show you that it's doing something wonderful for the skin, you can't go by what's already published and what's already, been, for example, we know all about retinol. We know all about, certain ingredients in skincare, and they're not exactly the healthiest, so that's where I get, that's where I have such an appreciation for what you've done, because you're right. The skin minimalism, I think, is something that's very, very up and coming, and I'm a huge advocate for it, but also the quality of the products, it's really, really crafted in such a beautiful way. And I'd love for you to share what your key, I guess the pillars were for the ingredients and all that good stuff.
Well, it's sort of like the brand pillars, really, in the fact that it has to be high performance, but it also has to be a pleasure to use. There's luxury in the way that certain moisturizers feel on the skin, serums feel on the skin. There's a certain that we don't actually know is, you don't know as a consumer, consciously, but it's all filtering through your brain as part of the overall, luxury experience.
Right.
For us, it's also, when we're formulating, it's not only important what we are, leaving in, but what we are leaving out. And we have this whole clean and lean philosophy. So we're not using any types of fillers. Everything is there for a purpose. And then we take it to the next level, which is part of our transparency pillar in our formulations, where we list everything that we actually use. You know, I always joke, like, I would much rather be in a land of yes than the land of no.
Right.
And, you know, it's fine if you have your ingredients listed that you exclude, which we do on our website. But and time that we spent putting the list together of ingredients that we do use and what their role is within the formulation.
Right. Right.
So
And
we
that's very
list all
important.
of that on the website. So
Right. No.
it's an effort to be educational as well as transparent. And this actually came from a situation that Victoria was in, where she went into a department store and she was just asking the salespeople there, you know, how do I know that this is okay for me and that it's all safe and that it's, you know, really as clean as possible? And nobody could really give her any answers. And
Yeah.
so when it came time to decide whether to publish this list or not, because we knew it was a competitive advantage.
Right.
And so it was just a question, you know, are we going to publish this or are we not? And ultimately, obviously, we decided to publish it. And, you know, we took a page sort of from Elon Musk and said, like, okay, here's all the inside info.
Yeah.
And our feeling is, if somebody can use this to make their lives better, or if another brand uses it to make their formulations better, it's all the better for everybody.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that, whole vision and that spirit. That's so cool,
Thank
because I
you.
think a lot of luxury brands are so standalone and it's very much like a veil, like, oh, I
Mhm.
wonder what happens like behind the scenes. And so yeah, like I really, really enjoy that you guys are so transparent. And the line, for me, the best part is it's obviously a luxury line. I feel like Victoria has made it so like reflective of her own style, but
Mhm.
like the luxury is not just in the packaging, the look, it's in, like you said, the feel of the products and the way
Mhm.
that they wear on your skin and the way that you feel, using the
Yes.
products. So it's like you've really, really created something that, gives people a feeling more than just a product, and I really respect that.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, that is the goal. I remember right before we launched, and Victoria and I were talking just about how much anticipation we had,
Yeah.
that because we've been a direct consumer line from the start. And now we have a couple of retail partners, but at the beginning it was only online. And the idea that people were going to order the product, it was going to come to them in 100% post recycled box.
Yeah.
They open up with the product in a reusable linen pouch in corn foam that
Yeah.
is 100% safe for the water table and water soluble.
Wow.
It was just a very different, way of packing things out at the time in particular.
Yeah.
Now, happily, there are other brands that are doing this kind of thing. So, but then, actually getting to the product and picking up the, say, eyeshadow compact
Right.
and being so excited that, like, oh my God, this is such quality. That's
Yes.
just the experience that we wanted for every one of our customers. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's been the vision.
No, I mean, you've truly delivered on that vision because that's exactly how it is. And the idea, I want to talk about like how you came up with the idea of like putting the colors right next to each other in the brick format. It's
Yeah.
so brilliant. Like I
Yeah. Oh,
absolutely
thank
love
you.
it.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. Well, that is where I would say some product experience comes through.
Yeah.
That is, I've had a lot of experience putting palettes together in my time.
Yeah.
And the thing that we all know is that when you have a palette, there are certain things that are used more quickly than others.
Right.
So for the eyeshadow palette, all of those shades, those 4 shades, that was created by use up rate.
Oh.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you have the lightest shade on the left, and that's really your all over base shade. You use that the most.
Yeah.
Going to the second one, and then the last one, those are the same sizes.
Yeah.
And those are sort of the lid shade and the contour shade. And then the skinny third level, the third line is for lining.
Oh,
So,
wow.
and that's how you use those colors, the
Right.
average person. So that's how we designed it.
It's like having a makeup artist like right there, like in a way, like you already have like a step by step, like how to go
That's
about
the
it.
idea. I mean, Victoria and I are both, as I mentioned at the beginning, we're both working moms. We want to look great, and
Yeah.
we don't want to spend a lot of time doing it. So we want our skincare to be easy, but super active and make us look like we got 8 hours of sleep when probably we didn't. And our makeup to be intuitive.
Yeah, no, I
I mean,
mean it's
that's the thing. Like, it's always great design should not be obvious.
right. Oh, I love that. I love that. I'm gonna quote you. That's so cool. Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think that the functionality of your products is just next level. And I think for me, like when I first saw, like I said, like the promo videos that were coming out about the brand, I was like so intrigued. I'm like, this is so cool. Like they put all the colors right there. And it's like when I got it, like the first thing I tested was, is it gonna like because it's eyeshadow, right? So I was like,
Right.
is there gonna be fallout? Is it gonna fall out into the other colors? And it didn't. And I was like, I don't know what Sarah and Victoria did, but this is brilliant. Like this is really brilliant. So yeah, it's
Thank you.
beautiful. And I also want to mention that for me, like I'm not a huge makeup person. So
Mhm.
like when I do pick a makeup product, it has to be very usable. Like in the sense that not just about the colors, but it also has to be about like the way it sits on my skin. And I've noticed like with your eyeshadow, for example, like it does not crease at all. And that
Mhm.
is huge for me because I have always had that problem is that
Mhm.
and by the end of the day it'll start creasing and I don't like the way it looks. It almost like ages you. So I
Oh yeah.
really enjoy that the formulation of the makeup has been it is so it is luxury, like you said.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's across the line, what we've tried to achieve. And I'd like to think that we have. But like, the Kajal liner, the satin Kajal liner
Yeah.
is something that, it's an eyeliner, right?
Right.
But it is so specific in the way that we formulated it that it's become an all-star of the line. And
Yeah.
the reason is that, you when you apply it, it's really creamy. It does not tug on your lid. You can use it in your waterline and it's safe for sensitive eyes. It gives you time to make whatever look you want. You can have a cat eye or you can smudge it out, and then it sets and it's waterproof and it wears all day.
Wow,
And
no,
that's,
it's beautiful.
it's just meant to, again, be something that's easy to use. It looks great, and it looks great all through your day, you know?
Yeah,
So
and
just
that's
trying to
very
keep in mind.
important. Like that's
Mhm.
very important. And also like I just want to say about the eyeliner is that it's the only pencil liner I use. Like I don't use pencil for my eyeliner because like it's just something I've always done, like liquid eyeliner for myself if I ever use it, but this is the only
Sure.
pencil I've ever used. And that's because of everything you just said, because it's so easy to use and it looks so natural. Like it does not look like you've got a glob of black eyeliner on top of your eyelid,
Right.
like, and anyone can use it. So I absolutely agree with everything you said. I mean, it's the products speak so much for themselves in a way that I feel like, anyone listening out there, like if you've tried anything from the line, I'm sure you can relate to this. I mean, they're the easiest products to use and the most beautiful looking. Even the lid luster shades are so perfect,
Oh,
especially
thank
for
you.
deeper skin. Yeah.
Hmm.
No, I mean, I want to talk. I want to actually talk more about the inclusivity aspect because I know you
Hmm.
had touched on that in the beginning, and how you and Victoria really like what the conversation was between you guys about that because the line is extremely inclusive. I mean, my skin tone, like I don't represent all brown women, but I can tell you, every colleague or friend of mine that's has darker, deeper shade, like they love the line, they love
Hmm.
the product. So I want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
How you
It,
guys? Yeah.
it was just from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Victoria and I talked about the fact that, you know, a lot of times when you're in a large corporation, everything comes down to dollars and cents.
Yeah.
And maybe your audience is demographically more one way than another. And so a lot of times brands will plan their colors for that. But we made the decision, we just wanted to do what we thought was the best thing. And we thought the best thing was to have shades for everybody. And, sometimes you need to make decisions when you're creating a brand and a brand architecture that don't necessarily on paper look like they make dollars and cents.
Yeah.
But you have to have the faith, which I do, that if you create the right products for people, eventually everybody will come,
Right.
and we just wanted to be known as a brand that was for everybody. And so that's what we've done. You see it in our lipsticks and our lip liners, in, the lid luster range, for example. And it's also why we haven't come out with a foundation yet.
I was
Because
gonna ask you that.
because it's, first of all, it's a huge development process to really get it right.
Yeah.
Which is the only way we're going to do anything. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is it's a really big inventory investment because we are going to have a ton of shades. So we have to wait until we get a little bit bigger till we can really afford everything that entails. But I'm excited to do it.
Oh my gosh, I will be your first customer. I'm not even lying.
What do you look for when you are buying a foundation?
I want something that is it looks very natural. So I love the look of real skin. I hate foundations that are cakey and you know what I mean? Just they're too much. So I always look for a natural finish in a foundation, something that's dewy, but not oily looking at all. Just something that really just makes my skin look better. Exactly. And, so that's really what I like. So
yes, me too.
Yeah.
Me too. And that would be, that's really, our whole idea. It's all about Victoria's glowing skin. And we have the skincare now, and any kind of complexion products that we would create would just continue that, that idea, because that's what she really stands for. And that's what she loves too.
Yeah. No, it shows. And I think, for me, honestly, Sarah, the line it just resonates so well for a person like me, because I feel like it's just a very global look to the line, in the sense that what I mean by that is I don't think of just one part of the world or one demographic or one group of people that would use your products. Looking at the packaging and then looking at the accessibility aspect and just how the products are used. For me, it was always I feel like everyone in the world, wherever you are, can relate to this product in some way, because it's a simple design. If you think about it, I mean, it's not overcomplicated, but it still is, down to I know it's very complicated, putting together a design, but the simplicity and the beauty at the same time make it such a globally appealing product line.
Thank
that
you.
I think what you guys have done, I'm just so impressed, as a consumer, because it's very, very hard to do,
Thank
and
you.
yeah.
Well, you're just seeing the passion that Victoria and I bring to this project. She is highly involved in every step of everything, the design of the packaging, the formulations. She tests everything. I send her everything, submission after submission. All of the colors, those palettes, some of those palettes were put together literally from pieces from her makeup bag, and taking, this idea of eyeshadow plus this idea of eyeshadow and tweaking it a little bit. And, she's just really, she's so into beauty herself, that it's been just a pleasure creating it. And that's what you see, I think, as
love
you're telling
that.
me that.
Yeah, no, I love that. And definitely, that definitely shows. I mean, Victoria Beckham, for me, I'm a millennial through and through. And, I've been a fan of her for so many, many years. I mean, for as long as I can remember. And it's everything, her style resonates with me, what she likes, you know what I mean? The way, the overall look really resonates with me, especially as someone who's very busy, and working all the time.
Yes, I know. So, I do.
Yeah. So, so I want to finish off the episode by asking you for some really, just words of wisdom for all of our listeners who are, maybe new entrepreneurs or just women in business that they want to do their best and, anything that you can offer as advice.
Well, I think it's important to have an idea that has a new point of view to it. It's really, there has to be some original thinking and, you know, an original thought needs to be part of your idea and part of your plan.
Yeah.
You definitely need to be prepared for some sleepless nights if you're going to be an entrepreneur, because, I used to work at a big company, and that kind of pressure is very different than owning your own company pressure, So
Right.
you kind of have to be mentally prepared for that. Just, a certain level of acceptance that is part of the journey.
Right.
I would say resilience. You have to keep, not everything is going to be a success. And in my career, I have definitely had failures, and I've learned more from those. I mean, it's, again, maybe a bit of a trite saying, but it really is true. You learn from your failings. And the most important thing, I say this to my daughters all the time, it isn't how many times you fall down, it's how many times you get back up.
Yeah.
And that is really a huge part of success.
I love
Yes,
that.
luck favors the well prepared, but it's also a matter of just keeping at it, persistence.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that. I hope you guys are listening very closely. No, that's so much. Oh my God, that's so real, and it's like the best advice, I think, because people really, I think, need to hear that a lot more, is that if you fall, then you need to get back up,
You
Yeah.
do. And that's where, the initial idea that you have, in my opinion, it needs to be something that you're truly passionate about.
Yeah.
It's much harder to stick with something that you think is intellectually a good, business opportunity if your heart is not in it, because it requires so much work and stick to itiveness to
Right.
make a success, that you just really have to have your heart in it, not just your.
Yeah. No, exactly. No, I completely agree with you. And I think, this has been such a lovely episode. I really enjoyed talking to you and learning about your vision. I mean, the line it speaks for itself. Everyone listening, I don't think I have to rave more about Victoria Beckham Beauty. I mean, Sarah and Victoria have just created something magical. And I think every single product, every, detail shows that. So I really urge all of you, check out the line, check out the amazing information on the website for the brand. And I'm going to be linking everything in the podcast art for this. So I hope you guys really just tune into this episode, leave us some comments, some feedback. If there's any questions, maybe I can pass them along to Sarah's team.
That would be
But
great.
yeah, thank you
That would
so
be
much.
wonderful. Thank you, Ekta. I so appreciate you having me on your podcast today. It's been great.
Yes, it has been such an honor. Thank you.